Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome one and all to today's training webinar entitled Introducing Learn360, Infobase's premier K-12 streaming multimedia resource. I want to say a big welcome to all of you Discus members today. And I also want to start out by announcing, in case you didn't know, probably many of you do, is that I will actually be in South Carolina in 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks from today, doing a training session on both Learn360 and also our premier language arts literature resource called Bloom's Literature. That will be at the State Library in 2 weeks from today, August, I think that is the 7th, I believe. So I'm very excited that I will be able to actually get down there and be in front of you in person to be able to do a much longer and broader training session on Learn360, and also be able to spend some time talking about one of my most favorite databases at our company, given my background as an English teacher, and that is, of course, Bloom's Literature. So that will be in 2 weeks from today. I look forward to hopefully seeing some or all of you there. For today, of course, we are going to be taking a virtual tour of Learn360, which again is our K-12 streaming multimedia resource, which means that it covers everything and everybody. So it is essentially the only resource that is offered by Infobase that really can be used by everyone in a school district. So we're talking the health teacher, the art teacher, the the ESL teacher, the after school teacher. I mean, whatever the case may be, it's great for every single grade, starting very early on in preschool and going all the way through high school. It is really a one-stop kind of complete multimedia resource, and that means, of course, multimedia. It's not just video. So many of the resources out focus on video alone, and that's great. I mean, we always like to say that if you're using Learn360 only for its video content, you're going to find more than enough content in there to provide videos for all of your teachers and all of your grade level schools and staff members. It really is a versatile resource in that respect alone. But we're very excited that we also include multimedia resources such as interactive learning games, lessons, audiobooks, learning like music, learning songs, like times table songs, that kind of thing. It's really just kind of an all-inclusive, comprehensive resource. So today we're probably only going to be able to really scratch the surface. I plan on about maybe the next 30 minutes or so presenting the platform. I would encourage you to ask questions the entire time. I don't really I don't typically leave time at the end for questions, just because I think questions are usually better served if they're asked in the flow of the presentation. So if something comes to you, if I show something and you're thinking, wow, that went by very quickly, I really want to know more about it, or I think what you said is great, but I wonder if we can also do this. Whatever the case is, feel free to go ahead and ask questions during the time that we're together today. You can reach out to or click on, rather, the control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. Type in whatever questions you have in the question panel. You'll see it there. It's like first or second from the bottom. You'll also, while you're there, you'll also find a very informative handout that covers everything and anything you wanted to know about Learn360. It's actually a 3-page flyer, so it's one of those things where if you wanted to hand it out to people, you could easily eliminate one of the 3 pages if you want and just make it a double-sided one-sheeter. The third page of that document is all about our integration efforts, and I don't actually get into that too much in my Learn360 training webinars, but there's some information there. You can also go to the support center in Learn360, which is up at the top. If you click on that little help button right there, it's going to take you to an entire world of information. So we want to make sure above and beyond that you are supported in your efforts to make sure that you are feeling really comfortable about Learn360 and everything that it can do. All right, so that was a rather lengthy introduction. Let's go ahead and jump right in here and take a look at Learn360 itself. It's going to be a lot of information that I'll present to you along the way. But again, rest assured, I'll be back down. I'll be in South Carolina in a couple of weeks to do it all over again and give you much more a detailed presentation. So what you're looking at now is the homepage of Learn360. This is essentially where everyone arrives when they first sign into your account. So this is a generic subscription, meaning that everyone in an institution, or everyone in this case who subscribes through Discus, can get into Learn360. So this is kind of the baseline location for everyone that has access to Learn360. This is where they would come to first and foremost. The very first step that we tell anyone who is a subscriber to Learn360, and it doesn't matter if they are subscribing through an organization like Discus, or if they're a local school, just a one school subscription or a district-wide subscription. The first thing each individual should really do before doing anything else is to create an individual user account. So that's usually step one. I've already done that. You can see that I'm logged in. Here's my name. The reason for doing that is because a lot of what you're going to see today in terms of those advanced features, things like creating and adding videos to a playlist, saving searches, creating a custom segment from a full-length video, all of those things require the creation of a user account. And so once you do that, you can you're basically opening up an entire world to you, and that's an individual basis. So that's completely separate from simply accessing the subscription. It's a very important first step, and then you'll be able to do a lot of what is involved in some of those more advanced features, and that can be done individually. So each person who has access to Learn360 can create his or her own user account. You can also do that in a bulk upload format. So if you are an administrator, say, in the account, you can actually bulk upload a number of teacher accounts all at once, basically by creating and uploading a spreadsheet. And that's going to create all these user accounts that individuals can then go in and customize. They can do things like change their password, sign up for our Learn360 Essentials newsletter, which goes out monthly. Also, we send out a monthly new title or new content email. So if you are, for example, a history teacher, you can sign up to receive monthly notifications letting you know that we've added new content for history. So that's on a regular basis, and you can sign up for multiple grades. It's not just limited to one. If you want to get everything, you can get everything. Or if you teach, mostly history, but you also have a science class that you teach, or if you teach third grade for the most part, but you also have a fourth grade after school program that you do, something like that, you can easily sign up for new content notifications for multiple grades, multiple subjects, etc. And all of that is done actually in the account settings. So if you once you sign into your account, you go to account settings, it's going to first prompt you to change a few individual settings that you see whenever you log into the account. Over at my profile, you'll have the option of going in and signing up for the newsletter, for example. You can sign up for specific subject. As you can see here, I signed up for the English Language Arts subject for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So that's kind of me reverting to my former life as an English Language Arts teacher. So that was kind of what I did for a number of years. So that's something that I can that's something that kind of still speaks closely to my heart. So excuse me. Lee is asking a great question. How should we sign up for an account? But what's going to happen is when you first sign into Learn360, this will simply say My Learn360, and you can click on the little drop-down menu, and it's actually going to have a box where you can either enter your username and password, or you can create an account from that point if you want. If you go to the login screen, so if you arrive here, once you create an account, you can log in using either your username and password, or you can completely bypass all that altogether. If you are at a Google for Education school, you can sign in with your Google account. So if you're using Google, you have, your school uses Google Classroom, and we're going to actually look at that today for a little bit. You can go ahead and sign in with your Google account, but the basic way is to just simply sign in by creating an account in Learn360 with a username and password. We also, in more advanced kinds of presentations, we get into things like passkeys and other methods of authentication, but really the individual user account is the thing that everyone should do because it will give you access to all those really cool advanced things. So the answer to your question, when you first get into Learn360, you'll just click up here, it'll say My Learn360, and you can sign up for an account very easily. And you'll just have to provide things like an email address, you'll create a username and a password, you'll be able to then sign up for newsletters if you're interested in doing that, or you can go back and do it later under your settings. So very quick, easy process to do that. I definitely recommend doing that very, very first thing when you start using Learn360. So on the home page here, we also have a number of sliders. This is kind of a way of jumping right into the platform. The first thing that you see here, and this is obviously going to look different in your account because this page is completely customizable. So when you log into Learn360 at your school or at your district, you might see browse subjects first. You might see browse non-video resources first. It really depends on how your account has been set up. I think the default for most new accounts is it goes subjects, featured producers, non-video, and then all the other stuff like the staff picks and the feature this month. So if you see that, you can easily move those things around, or if you're happy the way they are, that's fine. The staff pick slider is a great way to really generate and drive interest in the platform. So this is a place where an administrator in your account, and that can be anybody. It can be a librarian, it could be a teacher, it could be a principal, it could be a district administrator, it could be anyone who has the comfort level and the willingness and the time and the desire to actually update these account settings. So you can create you can add any videos that you want to staff picks. So right here we have on the first group of 4, we have videos from one of our main producers, A&E. So this is a way to kind of showcase content from a certain producer. As you can see, A&E has a series called This Day in History, which I selected the July 24th video. You can do that on a daily basis, kind of keep rotating that, and that could be the first video you see every day. You can also use the staff pick slider to promote children's content. So if you're at an elementary school, you could easily you could go in and say, hey, you know what? I really want to showcase elementary level content. Or if you're at a public library and you have your youth department, your juvenile librarian really wants to promote Learn360 to the community, they could build this whole staff pick slider with children's programming. And you can do really anything you want. You can make it historically based. You can use it to celebrate Black History Month. You can just pull out really videos that have a real high interest, kind of high engagement type of approach. So however you want to use that is great. And then I already mentioned some of the other sliders here. Featured this month is basically your calendar. It's got everything happening this month. And there's also a full calendar when we go up to the main menu that'll give you sliders for all 12 months. And then we have our browse subjects and our browse producers. Non-video resources is a slider that will take you to all the different types of non-video related content. Those are, again, those interactive lessons. They are games, learning games, comprehension activities, interactive science experiments, and we're going to take a look at that today just briefly. Again, in 2 weeks when I'm there in person, we'll really go much deeper into some of these things. Today is really just kind of an introduction to all the cool stuff that Learn360 has to offer. So Lee wants to know if we would like to request admin rights to manage many accounts within our school or district. What's the best way to do that? There are a couple of different ways. I would reach out to the individual who's basically the one who kind of initiated or manages the subscription. A lot of times they will automatically have admin access. That's one of the first things that they might do. But what we do is whenever we have a new subscription, we send out an email to the person who is kind of managing that process, and that email includes login information for the general account, so just getting into Learn360 first and foremost, and also admin access. So that person will be able to log into the admin portal and then can actually designate anyone with a current user account as an admin, or can actually help you create an account that includes admin privileges. So there are lots of different ways that you can do that. You can also, if you are unable to, or if you don't know who that person is, you can contact us directly. I'm just going to deviate here for a second. When you go to the help section, it's our support center. It actually has a section at the very end called Contact Us. So you can actually find emails and phone numbers that you can use to give us a call. And in your subscription, in that email, it also tells the individual who's kind of managing the process who your sales rep is, who your account rep is. It's probably not going to happen that everyone will have that information, but you can always reach out to us directly to find out how that process works. And again, that admin role can be anyone. It can be really anybody who, and especially if you're at a school and no one else has really taken on that role, you can definitely do that. And the nice thing about the admin functionality is it's going to start at your level and work its way down. So even if there's an admin for the entire school district, you'll be an admin for your school, and you can actually make individual local settings for your account. And that includes everything from reorganizing the sliders on the homepage. It includes adding and editing users, sending out password reminders, generating usage reports. It's really anything and everything that you can imagine that will help manage the account. So along with the other sliders that we see here featured this month, browse subjects, browse featured producers, browse non-video resources. We also have a couple here that just kind of give you just a sneak peek as to what we're doing. The recently added slider will give you 100 of the most recently added videos. So that's going to give you kind of an idea as to where we're taking our content. You can see a lot of videos from a producer called John Wiley & Sons. If you're thinking in the back of your mind, gee, John Wiley, that sounds kind of familiar. Absolutely. They are the producers or the publishers of the Dummies books. So, DOS for Dummies, Guitar Playing for Dummies. You've probably seen hundreds of those things. So John Wiley is actually the publisher of those books, and they're also a video producer. So they actually have provided us with quite a bit of content in Learn360 as well. Let's see. So there's another question here from Linda. Will there be individual administrators for each school or just for the district? Discus, rather. All of a sudden I can't read. Manager administrators. No, there can be the administrative functionality actually has a number of different levels to it. There can be an administrator at the Discus level, as well as the individual schools and districts that have direct subscriptions. So really, I think there might be a bit of a confusion here. The administrator is strictly within Learn360, so that doesn't mean the person who is in charge of renewing the product or anything like that. It's the individual who goes into Learn360 and organizes the sliders and generates usage reports and does all the kind of day-to-day administrative functions, adds announcements. I mean, they can actually, there's a bell up here at the top of the screen that they can use for announcements. So let's say we want to announce a new a new video producer that's in the program, or we want to announce, hey, it's Black History Month. Check out the videos that are all about whatever. So you can use that for a number of different things. It's all that kind of stuff. Making a non-admin individual an admin. Changing roles, generating title reports. So if you wanted to know what videos were in Learn360 that were for history, you could generate a report of a spreadsheet listing all the history videos. So there's a lot of different things that individuals can do, and one doesn't really affect the other. So even if you have multiple administrators in Learn360, you can still be an admin and you can still do all those things. Kevin's asking if we only have a Discus access, do we still set up a school as a school admin? Yeah, you'll still be able to do, you'll still be able to have a school administrator or an admin user. It will be available. Now, the thing with the admin functionality is that the higher the level of admin has more control over everybody. So if you might notice all of a sudden that there's a setting that's been changed, or a slider that's been moved around, you can go ahead and change that locally. But it's anything done at a higher level will affect all the global accounts. So for example, if Discus has an admin user in Learn360 and they make a change, they something, let's say something innocuous, like they take that staff pick slider and they move it down 3 spots. You'll see that in your account, but you can go in there and if you wanted to change that or anything, you can definitely, there are certain things that you still can do at the local level, but any changes made at the higher level will affect everyone below it. So if you're a school or if you're a district administrator, anything you change will affect all the schools, and so on. So, but it's all very flexible. It's all, there's nothing permanent, unless there are a couple of things that there's a checkbox that says do not allow children of this parent account to make changes to this. Just a couple of small things. And we get into that more when we talk about the admin functionality. We're actually doing an admin update right now. So we're in the process of releasing an all new admin portal. That's coming out at the end of next month. We're actually doing a sneak peek webinar this afternoon. So if you want to sign in for that, you'll be able to see maybe some of those admin functionalities. The full-blown new admin portal will be available in about 38 days, 36 days. I think they're scheduled for an August 30th or August 31st release. So there'll be all new functions in there. It'll look really cool. But if you want to go in there now and start playing around with it, you can definitely do that as well. So the other slider on the homepage is the most popular slider, and that's limited to your specific account. So if you have a video that's being used a lot, a lot of people are viewing it. And by the way, Learn360 includes unlimited usage of any video or non-video resource in the platform, unlimited simultaneous viewing. So if you have a video that you have an entire class watching, each individual student can watch that video at the same time. There's no limit on that. It's not going to say, oop, this video is already in use, nothing like that. It's completely unlimited for everybody. No limit on numbers. It's not like, oh, this video has been viewed 100 times. You can't view it anymore. Nothing like that. Completely unlimited. Learn360 also includes public performance rights. So if you are interested in showing a video at an assembly, or if you're in the library and you wanted to use a Learn360 video to promote good citizenship, or some kind of a subject related to libraries, maybe library etiquette or anything like that. If there are, and I don't know 100% if there are videos in there on that, there probably are, but just generally speaking, you can use Learn360 videos in a public setting within your school, within your district. We have a question from Kevin. Must videos be streamlined or streamed? I think I'm going to have to stop reading soon. I'm struggling with reading today. Must videos be streamed, or can they be downloaded for use? Good question. We're going to actually get to that, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now, because I want to definitely jump in and kind of get to a few other topics here, and that's actually one that we're going to be dealing with. In Learn360, the primary method of viewing videos is by streaming. So if you have access to Learn360, you have unlimited streaming rights. You can, unlimited usage, unlimited simultaneous viewing, unlimited use of public performance, all that's included. But you also have the option to download videos. Now, unfortunately, because of the way licensing situations work, not all producers allow us to permit downloading. So there may be a video, and this could very well be one of them. I can't remember. I haven't clicked on it in a while. But essentially, if you're on a video player page like this one, so this is a video called The Great Wall of China. It's about 47 minutes long. Let's say you know there's testing going on. You really aren't going to be able to have all of your students stream videos because the bandwidth is just going to be really spotty. It's not going to be good. You can actually allow students to download. Of course, that is not one that allows downloading. I know we have a couple here on this slider here. Let me see if, and it may be an A&E situation. So let me go to one of the other. Let's go to Reading Rainbow. I'm pretty sure they do do that. So yeah, again, that's a publisher or that's a producer situation. So if they allow it or don't, that's kind of up to them, unfortunately. But if a video does allow downloading, here's what you'll see. You'll click on this download button on the video player page. It will allow you to download the full title. In many cases, you'll be able to directly download most or all of the segments in the video. There are some that will require that you request a segment download link. I'm not exactly sure what differentiates one from the other, but it's a relatively easy process. They'll just send you an email with the download link in it. You'll click on it, and it might just be an extra step that they need to do to manage the download functionality. And then you can also, because we are Google integrated, we're a Google for Education partner, we allow direct download to a Google Drive. So if you are using Google Classroom, you can do that as well. So either you can download it to your local computer or device, or you can download it and save it to Google Drive. Either one works well for, or works automatically for most videos. And then there are some, like you saw in the first one, where they actually don't allow downloading. And again, that's a producer licensing situation. But I would say that the vast majority of Learn360 content can be downloaded. So back to the Great Wall of China video here. I know you're going to get sick of seeing this after a while. So I mentioned some of those advanced features that you only can do if you have created a user account. So there are some that are kind of universal. If you are using Google Classroom, there's a functionality under the share link that allows you to share any video content or any other content in Learn360 directly in a Google Classroom. So right now during this live webinar, I'm using the Chrome browser. I've already logged into my Google Education or Google Classroom account. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Share to Classroom option, and lo and behold, it actually takes me directly into my Classroom account. So this is just kind of a miniaturized version of the Google Classroom homepage for teachers. So normally you'll see all of your classes up here. This is just going to allow you to kind of quickly add a video or any non-video resource or anything you want directly in a classroom. So here we have, these are my made up, imaginary classes. So AP English, US History, Intro to Biology. Let's pretend that the Great Wall of China is perfectly suited to our US History course. We got to use a bit of imagination for that, but let's go ahead and do that. Then you choose to add it to either an assignment or a question or an announcement. I click Create Assignment, for example, and then it's going to allow me to make setting adjustments, give it a title, add instructions, assign it to certain students. Maybe I only want some of my students watching it. Maybe we're doing project-based learning. We're working in groups. Kids are only one group is actually doing a Great Wall of China presentation or project. So we only want to share that video with those students. You can do that very easily through Google Classroom. You also can see here the social media option. So if your school has a Facebook page or a Twitter account or anything like that, you can actually share links to the Learn360 resources directly to your social media. Now, those on the other end, if they don't already have access to an account, they won't be able to actually watch the video. But if they do, if they're either in your account or maybe they're also subscribing through Discus, but it's a different set of credentials, they can go ahead and enter their own credentials and go right in and view the video. So something like that works really well in a situation like South Carolina, because many schools and districts are subscribing through a centralized organization. So there's a really good chance when you share that link to your social media that you're going to be friends with or have followers who are also in South Carolina who can also access that resource. If they can, if you're sending it out and you know that there are people who don't have access to it, that's a great promotional tool. I mean, let them know, that this is part of Learn360. We of course appreciate doing that, and we do it in turn. I mean, I work with a lot of organizations like Discus. I work with a similar organization in North Carolina, and I brag on you guys all the time because I know that you're doing such great work. So we'll definitely reciprocate if you give us a shout out there. So the other option is to share via email. You can share any resource to yourself. You can send it to a colleague. Very quick, very easy. And that's something that I don't think is ever really going to go away. It's just something that, you know, people are always doing. So the Add To functionality is one of those advanced features that you absolutely have to have a user account to do. You can add videos to your favorites folders, and everything in Learn360 in terms of saving content is folder driven. So everything you save, from a playlist to a favorite to a custom segment to a search, all that is going to be deposited into a specific folder. And if you're like me, you're going to have a lot of folders, one for every class or one for every grade that you teach. If you're the librarian, you're going to have a lot of folders. You're going to have one for every grade, one for every teacher, however you choose to do that. There's no limit. You can do that as make as many folders as you want. Keep everything kind of organized that way. Same thing with a playlist. You can start from any video player page and add either the full title or any or all of the segments to a playlist. That can be one that's already created, or you can start a new one from here. You can just say, I don't have a Great Wall of China playlist. I want to make one. I'm going to add this video to it. And then I'm going to go on and add other ones along the way. We have the usual suspects here. I don't spend a whole lot of time on it, but we do have citations available for students. These are included in a number of different styles, as well as we allow the exporting of citations to these various tools. So if you're using any one of them, we've got you covered. I mentioned earlier the really cool feature of creating a custom segment. So basically, if you're watching this video, it's 45 minutes long, 47 minutes long. You only want a 10-minute chunk of it. You can simply select a start time and an end time and make a shorter video or a custom segment that you can then use with students. So you can have them watch it in class. You can send it to them as a link that they can watch outside of class. If you're doing flipped classroom or any kind of blended learning situation, that makes a great way of doing that. We also, of course, have standards. You can select your state standard, Common Core. If you're a science teacher, Next Gen Science. AP, we have some standards in there. So any standard set that you're looking for, you can very easily find exactly the standard that this video applies to. You can also, and that's going to take a little while, it's a real heavy kind of a data dump situation, so that does take a little bit longer. Depending on your internet speed, I'm working off a home Wi-Fi network here, so it's great for a lot of things, but every once in a while it kind of says, hey, that's a lot of information you're trying to deal with there. It's going to take us a bit of time to do it. As you can see, that's the case with the standards. Everything else that we've done in Learn360 has been instantaneous. It's very, it's really quick and easy to do most everything else in Learn360. So if we want, we can also do a search, and that's still spinning there. There we go. It finally stopped. You can also do a complete search by standards. That means you're searching the entire Learn360 platform to find resources that go to a certain standard. So Common Core, South Carolina, you can do your state standard. Here we are. You can do, again, if you're using Next Gen Science, and I just went by there really quick, national STEM standards, whatever standards you might be looking for are in the Learn360 search by standards option. You can find videos and other content related to specific standards. So very quickly, going back to our video page here, we already talked about downloading. If you're using a learning management system locally, you can also use the embed functionality. So you can embed any video or other resource to your learning management system. This video, one of the reasons I like using it is because it also has related resources. So these are, in this case, there's a teacher's guide that is a PDF document. You can download it, you can save it, you can print it. Some of these are longer than others. This one is relatively short, but then there's also a worksheet that's included. So if you wanted to use that, you can. These are things that are provided by the producer, so they're not something that we make ourselves, but a lot of producers do include additional resources like teacher's guides. Sometimes they're just vocabulary. Sometimes they are discussion questions or assessments. It could be anything that the producer has that they want to include with this video. You'll also see that information under the Details tab. Scrolling down here, here's our educator resources, teacher's guide, worksheets, etc. Most of the videos in Learn360 also include interactive transcripts. So that means you can actually go to any video that has this, and you can navigate the video by using the transcript. So I'm just going to click on this part right here. I think we have, I know in some browsers, yeah, and it's Chrome where the video will start automatically. In other browsers, it might not. But while the video is playing, I'm just going to mute that so we don't get distracted. While the video plays, the transcript is actually going to follow along. So you'll see now that this is a pretty long chunk there, but the transcript is actually going to follow the video, so you'll always know based on the progress bar where you are in the video, and it's actually going to guide you through. You can also print that transcript if you're working with, for example, special needs students. Maybe you want to have that as a side-by-side because you're going to open up that video in full screen mode, and you can turn that off, that auto scroll, if you want. And you can also search the transcript for anything that you are, any specific topic you might be looking for. And then you can see here we also have closed captioning. So that's easily turned on and off by simply clicking on the little closed caption button. That's another way of, helping out your special needs students or any students maybe with a learning disability who have a difficult time keeping up with the pace of a video. With that, you can also slow the video down. So this allows you to slow it down to about a max of 1/4 the normal speed, and you can speed it up as well if you want. And then I mentioned full screen mode, but we also have a theater mode, so you can open that up slightly larger. So we give you lots of flexibility in terms of the functionality of the actual video player. We want to make sure that you are that all of your students are comfortable using the platform, that they're able to be able to use the video at their comfort level. So very quickly, we're kind of almost up against the clock here, but I just want to go very quickly through the main menu. We have our home button, of course. It always gets you back to the main page. And I'll talk about this more in the on-site presentation, but we also allow users of Learn360 to incorporate other types of videos. So you can incorporate locally owned, locally produced video content that your school or district has made or that has been made locally. Maybe you work with a great South Carolina video producer and you want to add that video content to Learn360. We also allow you to incorporate YouTube videos. So that's another one of those admin functions. So if you are an admin in your account, you can actually allow students to view YouTube videos directly in Learn360. And I know what you guys are probably thinking. My school, my district blocks YouTube. We don't want kids watching it. If it's a site that has purely educational content, and you know that it's going to have all safe videos, it's nothing that's going to distract kids or be inappropriate for kids to see, you can actually incorporate those directly through Learn360. And in most cases, I won't say it's 100%, but in most cases, the videos will play just fine, even if you have some kind of a filter or blocking software that prevents viewing YouTube videos, because it doesn't take you out to YouTube. It actually it's all self-contained within Learn360. And when you request to add a channel and its content, it usually takes about 24 hours or so before it's incorporated, because we do go behind the scenes. We do all the technical stuff that's needed to make sure that video doesn't have any problems, that it works perfectly well, that it's contained within Learn360, it's not sending students out to YouTube. I will say, as a caveat to all of that, if your school or your district has really, really powerful, strong, deep diving software, that it's really gonna pick up anything and everything. It may cause problems, but in most cases we can, our tech people can work with your IT department to kind of work with that and help get around that. I mean, it's rare. It has happened. I've talked to districts that say, well, our software is going to pick up that they're trying to get a YouTube video in there, even if it's in Learn360. So we can usually work with you on that to help get around all that. We also have a browse videos or a complete subject index A to Z. If you're curious as as to exactly what the coverage is, what subjects we cover. It's basically everything: business, earth science, health, hospitality, even hospitality and tourism. There's just a little bit of everything in here: music and dance, philosophy, religion, sociology, social studies, geography, really just any subject that you can imagine is included. We also have a link to the producers page. So this is going to allow you to find content from any producer within Learn360. I mentioned A&E. This is one of our featured producers. We've got over 1,200 titles from them. We've got content from BBC, from HBO. That is not Game of Thrones. And we actually have a lot more content from HBO in some of our other platforms. Learn360, it's a very limited amount of content, but they do have some great educational videos. Jim Henson and Company, so great for younger kids. Learnetic, these are the learning lessons that we have in the platform. Sesame Street, Reading Rainbow, Nat Geo. I mean, just a real variety of producers that we work with. Again, we want to make sure that we're bringing you the best and brightest of content that we can. I think I clicked on the wrong thing there. There we go. Well, this is absolutely my favorite page, and we're just going to take about a 30-second, just look at it really quickly. Interactive content is all that non-video type of resources that we have. These include everything from interactive learning games and activities and experiments. We have comprehension activities. So they're kind of like if you're preparing your students for state tests. I know we all hate that. We don't really want to do it, but there's some degree of kind of feeling like, hey, we want to take off some of the pressure of kids having to do these huge days-long standardized tests. So there's some sample activities in there. And again, I'll show all of these when we get to. Whoops, I didn't want to click on that. We'll show all of these when I do the on-site training on in 2 weeks from now. We have audio files, including audiobooks for younger kids, music tracks, things like phonics, multiplication tables, sound effects. Those are kind of cool. We have some speeches from presidents. So we have a number of speeches from people like President Eisenhower and Kennedy and Reagan. I don't know if there are any newer speeches. I know we have some Clinton in there, I believe. I don't know how recent those are. There might be some new ones being added from more recent presidents like W. Bush, Obama, and so on. We have things like maps and science experiments and science diagrams. All these things, we could certainly spend, and I actually have spent entire webinars talking about these. If you are curious, since we don't really have time today, if you go back to the Help Center, if you missed it, I just clicked on the Help button here. If you go to training and tutorials, I actually have a number of archived videos in here. We have a great webinar that we did with the people from Sesame Workshop. That's phenomenal if you're an elementary level person. We have a video on the admin portal. Now remember, this is the current admin portal. It's not the one that we're going to be introducing later this summer, the end of next month. We also have a video on exploring the non-video, multimedia resources. And we have a number of other videos in there, other webinars that are archived if you want to kind of get into a more deep dive. But I definitely will be, talking about some of these things in 2 weeks when I'm in South Carolina. I know you guys have asked some great questions along the way, but I want to give you one final opportunity so you don't feel, like your voice has not been heard. If you have any last minute questions to ask, now would be a great time. I'm going to just take a breath and allow you to kind of take it all in. If you have any additional questions, if there's anything that you feel that I didn't really spend enough time on, we can definitely circle back. If not, I hope you guys will all be in the workshop on August 7th. I would love to meet all of you in person, but so far you guys have asked some great questions, and I really feel a sense of engagement with Learn360, which is very exciting. It's a great resource, but I know that a lot of times schools will have resources available that they don't really get to use a whole lot, and I certainly hope Learn360 will kind of get over that, that struggle. Quick question from Kevin: will lesson content be connected to the new ASL national standards for librarians? I'm not sure about that. I would have to say, that's something that we continue to work on. We do add new standards. We do add new content all the time. So that may be something that they're working on as we speak. I would actually have to check in with some of our product development people, which I'm going to be talking to them later today. So I'll definitely bring that up and find out where we are with that. But if there are no more questions, that is my time today, everybody. My name again is Angel. Thank you all so much for joining me for this webinar. I know it was a lot of information. Hopefully you were able to take something away that will really inspire you and encourage you to get the word out about Learn360. And hope to see you guys in 2 weeks. I'll see you at the State Library on August 7th. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.